Hey, it's Tim from AK Endless Sports Cards. Today is a travel day, and so we're going to be leaving Barbeau, Michigan. And we're going to be heading to the central Upper Peninsula to Marquette. And so I came out here this morning, and the St. Mary's River is basically just like glass. I mean, it's absolutely amazing out here. I'm fortunate enough that as an educator, I have summers off, and you combine that with doing some budgeting and stuff like that, it's really nice to just be able to have some stress-free vacations. Buddy of ours was nice enough to let us stay at him and his wife's cabin here on the St. Mary's River, so we're very appreciative of that. And just wanted to get a short clip of the river this morning because it's gorgeous out here. So we'll be heading to Marquette. So we're going to have a venue change for the next video, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, this is Tim from AK Endless. All right, new day, new video. We just got into the Marquette area. I'm actually in the Lost Creek area of Marquette. I'm on a walking trail here. So without any further ado, let's get this one going. All right, so having been to the National a few times, I've noticed that there are a couple of different types of traps that you can fall into that deal with time and money. These are kind of like some time and money pitfalls that I've kind of run into. And the first time or two when I went there, I didn't really think too much about it. But in retrospect, looking back, I'm like, well, these are some things that I try to avoid to save myself some time. I talked about this in a previous video. So first things first, if you're going to go to the National, I would try to get there for at least 3 to 4 days. I don't think that going there for 1 or 2 days is anywhere near enough. The shortest amount of time that I've ever spent there, I went 1 year in Chicago for a day and a half, and it was nowhere near long enough. Super rushed, and was happy to be able to go. But if you got the choice, you definitely want to go for longer. 3 to 4 days minimum. People will argue that 5 is too long, but I don't know. I enjoy going. I won't say every year. Most years I enjoy going. I don't go to the Atlantic City ones, but it's only once a year. So spending 4 or 5 days there, if you're a pretty serious collector, is a blast. Well worth it. Well worth the time. All right, so let's talk about some of these time/money traps of going to the National. First one deals with time. So if you get a VIP pass, you get some benefits to that. You get into the show a half an hour early for all days. You get VIP sets from some of the big companies like Panini, Topps, Leaf, etc. And you get autographs from some of the selected VIP athletes. They'll just be listed. TriStar will come out with a list. They'll post it on the National site, and they'll have a list of VIP signers. And so you get this sheet of autograph tickets as part of your VIP pass. Now, VIP pass over time has gone up a little bit. I think I paid $170 this year for mine. So if I remember correctly, you get over 10 for sure. I want to say it's 12 or more VIP autographs. Here's the catch though. So the first year or so that I went, I was pretty serious about trying to get these autographs. I was like, wow, this is so cool. I have these autograph tickets, and I was trying to track down through TriStar. I was trying to get, buy photos and be able to meet these athletes. And, it takes a lot of time to be able to do that because there's a line for all of them, even though you got a ticket. And a lot of the players, no disrespect to them, they're in many cases great players, but they weren't players that I had ever really watched or that I was ever really a fan of when they were actively playing. And so I found that I skip those VIP autographs I still get the VIP pass, so I still get them. I typically try to just trade those away to other collectors. Matter of fact, this year I already have a deal in place. I took all of my autograph VIP tickets and traded them to somebody for a Panini VIP card set, just straight across. And so I just found that, it takes a lot of time to get those VIP autos. I've had an exception or two over time. One year I wasn't at the show, but my brother was there, and Jerome Walton was one of the VIP signers. If you're a Cubs fan, or just a little more serious baseball fan if you have been for a while, Jerome Walton was the Rookie of the Year for the Chicago Cubs back in like 1989. And so I asked my brother to get a baseball and get it signed by him. He didn't go on to have a super long like Hall of Fame career or anything like that, but that 89 Cubs team was pretty special, and I was pretty young then at the time, but that would be an example of one that I'd really like to get. Guys like him, guys like Dwight Smith from that particular team, I'd make exceptions for those. Otherwise, I'm passing on those VIP autos. Saves a ton of time. Number 2 on my list, the Panini / Topps box redemption packs. So, haven't seen any announcement yet this year. It always comes out closer to the show. But Panini and Topps usually come out with a select list of products where if you buy them at the show, you'll get like a special slip or like ticket with them. And then you can go, if it's a Panini product, you can take it to the Panini, there's a special Panini booth, and they'll give you a silver pack. And the silver packs have typically 2 cards in them. And they are designed to be national exclusive cards. There's some base mixed in there, there's some numbered cards in there, etc. Typically 2 card packs. Now, depending on the types of players that are in these packs, so the rookie class, in other words, it makes a difference as far as who or how much of a demand there is. Every year, though, the demand is fairly high, to the point where I saw people doing some pre-sales of these packs at like $30, $35 a pop, and there's 2 cards a piece in these packs. So those have gone up a lot. Years ago, one of the first times I went to the National, I bought like, I don't remember, 25 or 30 of these from a dealer for like $4 a piece, and I thought that was expensive. I tend to avoid these now. They are fun, and they're national exclusive, and they can be some mementos. And if Victor Wembanyama has numbered cards in there this year, I'm sure they'll be big, at least temporarily. But these cards, if you look at them historically, they drop in value tremendously over time. Within 2 weeks, a month of the National, those national exclusive cards have lost a ton of value. So I don't bother with those anymore. I don't buy a lot of hobby wax, especially since it's gone up so much in price. So I don't buy a lot of wax anyway. But I don't bother with those. They've gotten to be pretty expensive, the boxes and then secondary packs. I do have a couple of dealers that I know that crack a lot of these packs, so if there's a particular player that I want, I'll touch base with them and maybe buy some singles. So that's something to consider. I consider that to be a bit of a money trap. Again, if you like wax, if you like hobby boxes, and that's part of the fun for you, great. Then that might be a decent value for you, actually. It just isn't for me. So, number 3 on the list, as far as a time issue or time trap, this show is huge. I've talked about it on other videos. You're talking 800,000 plus square feet. Chicago, from what I understand, has expanded even more this year as far as the number of dealers. It's huge. If you go into this show and you don't have a plan as far as how you're going to go to all of these booths, you are going to spend a significant amount of time just trying to figure out where you've been and where you haven't. So all of the aisles are numbered. They have banners like up in the rafters. So all of them are numbered. Oh, sorry. I was looking to see what that was back there. There's a huge woodpecker back there. All of the aisles are numbered. So I usually go with a system to be as time efficient as possible, where I start on, let's say, aisle 100 and just go from aisle 100 to 200 to 300 to 400, etc. I've done it before where I've kind of just wandered around. You know, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You know, just kind of wander around, just do what I want to do, you know. I gotta be so organized for. No big deal. Yeah, that's a disaster. I found that by like the last day of the show, there were still tables that I had never seen, because you have to have some sort of a plan, in my opinion. It'll save you time. You'll get to see more. And then at the same time, I mentioned in a previous video, but I'll just remind you just in case you haven't seen it, make table notes. If there's cards that you want that you don't buy on the spot, write it down on your phone. Create a phone note and put it on there. The table number and the card and the price. If the tables aren't marked, because some of them aren't marked very clearly, just ask the dealer. And that'll at least get you ballpark right around where you need to go when you're looking for those. So that is a big time saving piece. So if you're only going for a couple days, I would use a system, because you're not going to get to everything otherwise if you're just kind of wandering around. Fourth thing on the list. Some people are going to disagree with me on this one. I don't spend much time in the dime and quarter boxes. I don't spend really any time on those. I know that there are stories of people finding great cards in those types of boxes. I just never have. Now, I'm only talking about dimes and quarters. I have found some great stuff in dollar boxes, you know, ranging from $1 to, sometimes people have cards ranging from like $1 to like $10. They have them marked and stuff. I found fantastic cards in those types of boxes for sure. Most recent thing that I can think of, from a few years back, but I found a Rudy Gobert Precious Metal Gems Red, number to 100 or 150 that year, I don't remember, for $3. I'm a Denard Robinson collector. I have found Denard Robinson in his college uniform autographs for $2-3. So those types of things have been great. So I've had a lot of success in the $1 to $10 boxes. Dime and quarter boxes, never found anything. Because the thing you gotta think about is the time that it takes to go through those boxes. Again, if you're only there for a couple days, you could spend days looking through the really, really cheap boxes. You could spend a long time. And then you gotta wonder, like, well, how many people hit these boxes before I did? Is there anything good left? So I don't spend time doing it. And it's not because I'm, acting all la-ti-da or anything like that. I like a good deal, and I like buying, cheaper cards for great deals. I just haven't had any success with those types of boxes, so that's where I'm coming from on that. Number 5 on my list, as far as this one would qualify under the time trap and money trap, in my opinion, is the grading lines. So there's a big demand for on-site grading at the National. Haven't seen anything from BGS yet. I did see the PSA prices though. If you want to have cards that you bring to the show and drop off at PSA, the prices start at $150 per card. If you want them back during the show, $150 a piece. I guess if you have really high-end stuff, you got some high-end vintage and other stuff that you just don't want to put in the mail. Maybe you got some, nice 86, 87 Jordans. Maybe you got some really nice vintage. Maybe you pulled an unbelievable card out of a hobby box at the National. Whatever. $150 a pop though, for that lowest tier, and then it goes on up, I think, to like 200 or 250 and beyond. So money-wise, hey, if you got high-end cards and you don't want to put them in the mail, and you want those things slabbed while you're at the show, so they never have to hit the mail, and you get them back by the end of the show, that could be relatively good. You know, you get cards that are worth $1,000, you know, $1,000 maybe or more. Okay, you know, no judgment here. But I don't. So to me, $150 is really expensive to have them done at the show. There's also long lines, because even though that's a relatively high amount to have to pay to get something graded, there's a demand for it at these shows. Those PSA lines are always pretty long to be able to get those cards slabbed at the show. And you know, you got dealers, you know, that are utilizing that service also, because for them, if they got higher end stuff, it makes sense to drop some stuff off on Wednesday, you know, pay the high fee and get them back where they could still sell them at the show. So that makes a little more sense. Well, I'm not doing any of that, so for me it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't want to spend the money, and I don't want to spend the time to wait in those lines. However, my counter to that is, and I mentioned this in a previous video, but in case you missed it, I'll tell you. However, if there's stuff that I want to have graded, Wax Pack Nation will have a booth at the National. I'll just have all my stuff prepped, and I'll drop them off with Wax Pack Nation at the show. They're not going to be graded while I'm there, but when they get back to Florida, they'll send them in. With a couple months, I'll get them back. So that way I at least save shipping. You know, I don't have to send them down to, I live in Alaska again, so I don't have to send them down to Florida. I save shipping at least one way. So that's kind of a counter to that. So that's another time and money trap that I look to avoid. Last piece, point number 6, the food lines and food quality. Yeah, you know, I'm fortunate enough that at this National, I've got a hotel right across from the convention center. So it's actually like super convenient. So I don't really have to worry about bringing in anything to the show. And you'd have to check the rules. I don't remember what the rules are in Chicago as far as what you're allowed to bring in. But the food at those little food courts is pretty expensive. And in my opinion, the quality is not great. So I would kind of plan for some sort of like alternate food arrangements. Again, I don't really need to bring anything in there this year because I got a hotel right across. So if that's the case for you, take a little breather from the National, maybe walk on over there and have something. If the rules allow you to bring stuff in there, then that's an option too. I just don't remember. I have to take a look at that. Not really sure. But that's those are my top 6 things that I would put out there for people who either haven't been before or you've been, but you know, you could just use a little reminder. Some things to kind of keep in mind as far as you know, time and money traps for the 2023, I almost said 2023 National. With that said, kind of an overcast day. I guess it's probably supposed to rain here in a little bit, so it's probably good timing to be able to video this before it starts pouring. And I'm gonna go ahead and start the walk back, but hope that everybody's week is off to a good start. I really had to think about that early since I'm off. Kind of forgot what day it was. It's Monday, I remember now. But remember that the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless.